Alligator hunting's hard. Everybody that does it works their butt off.
Known famed gator hunter Troy Landry of the show Swamp People has found himself.
When people think of Louisiana's swamps, they imagine a world full of danger, beauty, and mystery. For generations, families have lived side by side with the waters, learning to respect the creatures that hide beneath the surface. Among those who built their lives in this wild place is Liz Cavalier, a woman whose name became famous after her time on the hit reality show Swamp People. From the very beginning, people warned others about her fellow hunters, crew members, and even those who admired her skill. They said she was tough, fearless, and someone you didn't want to cross. Yet, when millions of viewers tuned in to watch her on television, many saw only the calm, confident smile, not the deeper layers of her story. Liz was more than just a reality star. She was a living example of resilience, strength, and survival. To truly understand why people both admired and feared her, we need to look beyond the cameras and uncover the real journey that shaped her life. Liz Cavalier was born on January 21, 1970, in the small community of Pierpont, Louisiana. Unlike most children who grew up in safe neighborhoods with playgrounds and backyards, Liz's world was the swamp itself. Her parents, CJ and Ella Dupree, were skilled alligator hunters, and from the very start, they introduced Liz to the rhythm of the wetlands. As an only child, Liz spent most of her time watching and learning from her parents. She would sit quietly in the family's boat, bottle in hand, listening to the sounds of nature and observing how her parents read the water, set their traps, and navigated the channels. The swamp was her playground, her classroom, and her home. While outsiders might have seen it as a dangerous and frightening place, Liz grew up knowing its secrets. Her father always reminded her that the swamp was both beautiful and deadly, and he taught her to respect it long before she was allowed to take part in hunting. These early lessons built the foundation of her character, shaping the strong and fearless woman she would later become. The turning point in Liz's young life came when she was just 12 years old. After years of watching from the sidelines, her father finally allowed her to take part in a real hunt. For Liz, this was more than just an exciting moment. It was a rite of passage, a chance to prove herself in the world she had grown up in. With patience and focus, she tracked her first alligator, taking the careful shot that marked the beginning of her hunting career. Even at such a young age, her calmness and confidence stood out. Unlike many who might panic in such a dangerous situation, Liz showed maturity and determination far beyond her years. Around the same time, she developed a unique bond with an unusual companion, a 7-foot pet alligator named Charlie Pie. While most children would have been terrified of such a creature, Liz cared for him, studied his behavior, and learned to coexist with him safely. This relationship deepened her understanding of alligators and gave her a confidence that very few could match. Her teenage years became a training ground, where every hunt, every observation, and every challenge added to her growing skills. As Liz grew older, her reputation in the local community began to spread. By her teenage years, she was already seen as more than just a child learning from her father. Hunters who had spent decades in the swamps recognized her talent, precision, and fearless attitude. Liz wasn't just skilled with a gun, she had the instincts that could only come from years of close observation. She could read the ripples of water to know when an alligator was nearby, understand the movements of the boat in tight channels, and stay calm under extreme pressure. Her experiences with Charlie Pie also gave her a different perspective on the animals she hunted. She didn't see them only as threats or prey, but as creatures worthy of respect. This balance between fearlessness and caution became one of her greatest strengths. People admired her abilities, but also warned newcomers not to underestimate her. Liz demanded respect, not through loud words or threats, but by proving herself in every hunt. The swamp, with all its dangers and mysteries, had shaped her into someone remarkable. And it was only a matter of time before the wider world noticed. That wider recognition came in 2011, when the History Channel was looking for a skilled female hunter to join the second season of Swamp People. The show had already gained popularity by showcasing the lives of Louisiana's alligator hunters. But producers wanted someone unique, someone who could bring not just skill, but charisma and strength to the screen. Liz Cavalier was the perfect choice. By then, she had decades of experience, a reputation for being fearless, and the presence to hold an audience's attention. When she first appeared on the show, viewers were immediately captivated. She moved through the swamps with confidence, her calm voice and precise actions making her stand out from the rest. Fans loved her not just for her hunting skills, but for the way she carried herself with authority, grace, and authenticity. Behind the camera, though, Liz continued to rely on the same discipline she had developed as a child. Every hunt was carefully planned, every risk measured, and every move calculated. She wasn't just performing for television. She was living the same life she had always lived, only now millions of people were watching. Liz Cavalier's time on Swamp People was not only about showcasing her hunting skills, but also about showing the world a side of Louisiana life that many had never seen. Through her, audiences got a close look at what it really meant to survive. In the swamp, the work was tough, the dangers real, and the risks unavoidable. Every hunt carried the possibility of injury or worse, yet Liz approached each challenge with calm determination. She was often seen standing at the front of the boat, steady and composed, her eyes scanning the water for the slightest sign of movement. Viewers admired her fearlessness, but those who worked with her knew it wasn't just bravery, it was decades of preparation and discipline. She had grown up understanding that hesitation could cost you everything in the swamp, and so she learned to act with both confidence and caution. The more episodes she appeared in, the more her reputation grew. Fans began to see her not just as a hunter, but as a role model. Someone who broke through barriers in a male-dominated profession and proved that strength had no gender. Her presence on the show gave inspiration to countless women who dreamed of taking on challenges in fields where they were often underestimated. Paragraph 7. But while her fame grew, so did the warnings about her. Fellow hunters, crew members, and even some fans described Liz as someone you didn't want to cross. She had a reputation for being fiercely protective of her space, her craft, and her respect. If someone underestimated her or failed to take her seriously, they would quickly learn that Liz did not tolerate disrespect. These warnings weren't meant to paint her as unfriendly, but rather as someone who demanded fairness and seriousness in a world where mistakes could be deadly. In the swamp, there is little room for arrogance or carelessness, and Liz understood this better than most. She had worked too hard, trained too long, and survived too many dangerous hunts to allow others to treat her role lightly. Some fans were surprised when they learned that behind her charming smile on screen was a woman who could be intimidating and unyielding in real life. Yet this was exactly what made her so respected. The warnings about Liz were not just tales, they were reflections of her uncompromising personality, one that was built from a lifetime of facing danger and coming out stronger every time. Paragraph 8. Behind the scenes of reality television, Liz also faced challenges that were very different. From the dangers of the swamp, fame brought with it a new kind of pressure. On hunts, she had to worry about weather, water, and wild animals. On television, she had to deal with cameras, producers, and public expectations. Every move she made was watched, recorded, and judged by millions of viewers. While many reality stars struggled with this spotlight, Liz managed to stay authentic. She refused to put on an act or change who she was just for entertainment. What fans saw on screen was the same Liz that her community had always known, a skilled hunter with a no-nonsense attitude and a deep love for her environment. But even authenticity came with its challenges. Some critics questioned her methods, others doubted her experience, and some even tried to diminish her role as just a television personality. For Liz, this was nothing new. She had spent her life proving herself in a world where being underestimated was common. Just as she had learned to trust her instincts in the swamp, she trusted herself to handle the pressures of fame. In many ways, her resilience in the spotlight was another reflection of the lessons she had learned from the swamp itself. Paragraph 9. One of the most remarkable things about Liz Cavalier's story is how deeply the swamp shaped her identity. To her, the swamp wasn't just a backdrop or a workplace, it was home. She often described how the sounds of the birds, the movement of the water, and even the stillness of the marshlands were part of who she was. Every time she stepped onto the boat, she wasn't entering a dangerous world. She was returning to the place she belonged. This connection gave her a sense of calm and control that set her apart from many hunters. She understood the animals in a way that felt almost instinctive. Having grown up with Charlie Pye, she knew how to read their moods, anticipate their actions, and respect their strength. This respect was crucial. Unlike some hunters who saw alligators only as targets, Liz recognized them as powerful creatures that deserved caution and acknowledgement. It was this balance between respect and courage that made her such a skilled and admired hunter. Her relationship with the swamp wasn't built on fear, but on understanding a rare quality that gave her an edge, both in real life and on television. Paragraph 10. The impact of Liz's time on swamp people went far beyond entertainment. For many viewers across the country, she became a symbol of determination and strength. People admired not only her hunting skills, but also her story of growing up in a tough environment and turning those experiences into lifelong expertise. She became living proof that the lessons we learn early in life, no matter how difficult, can shape us into who we are meant to be. Women, in particular, found inspiration in her journey. In a profession dominated by men, Liz stood tall, proving that skill, intelligence, and courage matter more than stereotypes. She broke barriers simply by doing what she had always done, showing up, working hard, and refusing to back down. For many fans, the warnings about Liz weren't a reason to avoid her, they were a reason to admire her even more. She was unapologetically herself, and that authenticity shone through every moment she spent in front of the camera. Paragraph 11. Of course, like every public figure, Liz Cavalier's story wasn't without its struggles. Fame is a double-edged sword, and while it brought her recognition and opportunities, it also brought criticism and pressure. Reality television has a way of shaping narratives, sometimes leaving out the deeper truths of a person's life. For Liz, this meant that the world often saw only the confident hunter, not the years of sacrifice and hard work behind that confidence. Some misunderstood her toughness as arrogance, not realizing that it was survival that had shaped her that way. Others underestimated her because she was a woman, ignoring the decades she had spent mastering the swamp long before cameras ever appeared. These challenges, however, only seemed to make her stronger. Just as she had learned to adapt to the unpredictable waters of the swamp, she adapted to the unpredictable world of fame. She continued to live by the principles her father had taught her: respect the environment, trust your instincts, and never back down from a challenge. Paragraph 12. In the end, the story of Liz Cavalier is more than just the tale of a famous alligator hunter. It is the story of a woman who grew up in one of the harshest environments in America and turned it into her greatest strength. From her childhood days in a boat with her parents to her rise as a national television personality, Liz's journey has been one of resilience, skill, and authenticity. The warnings about her were not meant to scare people away, but to remind them of who she truly was: someone who demanded respect because she had earned it, someone who could not be underestimated, and someone who represented the true spirit of the swamp. Behind